You wake up, just like every other morning. The house is quiet, your joints are stiff, and your stomach feels strangely hollow. Without thinking, you walk to the kitchen and pour yourself a strong, dark coffee. It's what you've always done. For years, maybe decades. That first sip feels familiar, comforting even. But what you don't realize is that what you've just done might be the very thing causing the pain you keep calling age. The burn in your chest, that bitter taste creeping up your throat, the heaviness in your belly that makes you want to lie back down right after breakfast. It's not just a random discomfort, it's a warning. And most seniors ignore it, because no one ever told them that coffee on an empty stomach could quietly tear their digestive system apart. You see, when you drink coffee first thing in the morning without eating anything beforehand, your stomach is defenseless. There's no food to act as a buffer. Coffee stimulates the production of gastric acid, which normally helps break down food. But if there's nothing there to digest, that acid starts working against you. It begins to irritate the stomach lining, increasing inflammation, triggering acid reflux, and in many cases leading to conditions like gastritis or ulcers over time. The older you get, the more fragile that protective lining becomes. It's like burning a candle that's already half melted. What used to be just a small irritation becomes a daily source of discomfort. And slowly, that discomfort becomes your new normal. Many seniors begin to believe that constant bloating, heartburn, or nausea are just signs of getting older. But they're not. They're signs that your body is trying to protect itself from something you keep feeding it. The harsh truth is that coffee in the morning, especially black coffee, acts like an acid bomb inside an empty stomach. And if you've been feeling a gnawing pain before meals, a strange sour burp after drinking coffee, or even a dull burn in your throat while lying down, it's not age, it's injury. What makes this habit even more dangerous is how common it is. The ritual of morning coffee is deeply emotional for many people. It feels like a reward for waking up. It gives a sense of structure, of comfort. But rituals can become traps when we don't question their impact. And in seniors, the stomach's ability to produce mucus, which protects its lining from acid, naturally decreases with age. That means even a small amount of irritation from coffee can cause more damage than it would in a younger person. The longer this continues, the more likely it is to lead to complications that don't just cause pain, but affect your entire quality of life. What's even more concerning is how caffeine stimulates not only acid production, but also adrenaline release. That's the fight or flight hormone. For a body that just woke up and needs nourishment, being flooded with stress chemicals can lead to nausea, digestive cramps, and even heart palpitations. You might think you're just jittery from the coffee, but the reality is more complex. Your empty stomach is being flooded with acid, while your nervous system is being pushed into overdrive, all before you've even had a bite of food. Now think about how that pattern repeats itself every single day. That damage is slow and quiet. At first, it's just a discomfort. Then it becomes your baseline. You start taking antacids, thinking they help, but they just silence the symptoms while the root problem grows deeper. If you've been experiencing strange fatigue in the mornings, if your digestion feels heavy and your energy crashes mid-morning, it might not be your age. It might be your first drink of the day. And this is where things get personal, because nobody tells you to question your coffee. You're told to avoid sugar, salt, fat, but nobody says that black coffee before food is like pouring acid on a dry wound. Your body needs fuel, not fire, when it wakes up, especially if you're over 60. Your digestion is already slower. Your gut lining is thinner. Your stomach acid regulation is weaker. Starting your day with coffee alone isn't harmless. It's dangerous. But here's something most people don't know. That pain you feel after your coffee, that tightness in your upper belly, that burning in your throat that wakes you up at night, it's not just acid. It's a sign your digestive system is under attack. And if you've also been feeling unusually sensitive to certain foods, if tomatoes or citrus now trigger reactions they never used to, That's not coincidence. Your stomach lining may already be compromised, and coffee is making it worse. You don't have to give up coffee forever. That's not the point. But your stomach needs protection before it gets assaulted. Something as simple as eating a banana, a slice of toast with almond butter, or even a small handful of oats before your coffee can drastically reduce its damage. Think of it like this. Would you pour boiling water on an empty plastic cup? Of course not. You'd melt it. That's what your stomach becomes after 60. Thinner, more fragile, easier to injure. Giving it a layer of protection isn't optional anymore. It's necessary. And here's another thing that no one warns you about. That morning nausea you sometimes feel, that's not always a bad meal from the night before. That's your body telling you it doesn't want to be hit with caffeine and acid before it has a chance to wake up properly. Morning nausea, when frequent, is often linked to too much stomach acid in an empty gut. And if you're relying on your coffee to help you go to the bathroom, that's another warning sign. The caffeine is acting as a laxative by irritating your gut lining. That's not normal. That's your body responding to stress, not health. You've likely spent years trusting that your habits are safe because they've always been there. But time changes everything. What helped you once may be hurting you now. That includes your coffee. And the good news is, you don't have to give it up entirely. You just have to stop treating it like breakfast. The first 30 minutes after waking up are the most delicate for your digestive system. Your body needs hydration, minerals, and calm, not acid and adrenaline. Drinking a warm cup of water with lemon or a magnesium-rich smoothie can do more for your digestion than any medication. And after a small meal, that beloved coffee can still be part of your day, but now without the destruction. Healing your stomach isn't about punishment, it's about understanding. And once you see how much of your discomfort is coming from the habits you thought were harmless, you can begin to take control. Because your pain isn't inevitable. It's not just age. It's the result of repetition. And when you change the pattern, you change everything. If this message spoke to you or reminded you of a habit you've been wanting to change, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos that support your health every step of the way. You sit down at the table. The food is warm. You're hungry. You start eating and barely notice how fast it's going. 1 bite, 2 bites, and before you realize it, the plate is almost empty. There's no time to chew properly. No pause between each bite. Just the constant motion of fork to mouth like you're racing against something. But you're not rushing to work. You're not running late. So why are you still eating like you have somewhere to be? And more importantly, why do you feel so heavy, bloated, and uncomfortable just 15 minutes after finishing a meal? This is the silent habit that ruins digestion for millions of seniors. Eating too fast might seem like a small issue, but for someone over 60, it can trigger a cascade of problems that go far beyond a full stomach. It's not just about gas or indigestion. It's about the way your entire digestive system starts to struggle when you skip the most important step of the process, chewing. Because digestion doesn't start in your stomach, it starts in your mouth. And when that step is rushed or skipped, the body pays the price. As we age, everything slows down. Metabolism, saliva production, enzyme levels. The digestive system becomes more fragile, more sensitive. That means your body can no longer catch up later if you eat too fast. When you swallow chunks of food barely broken down by your teeth, your stomach is forced to work overtime. It must produce more acid, churn harder, and take longer to process what could have been handled much more easily if you had just slowed down. That extra strain is what leads to the discomfort you now think of as normal. There's also something else that no one talks about. When you eat quickly, you're far more likely to overeat. Your brain needs about 20 minutes to register fullness. But if you finish your meal in 10, you'll feel full only after you've gone too far. That's when the tightness in your waistband kicks in, the bloating, the pressure, the strange urge to lie down and undo your pants after eating. That's not fullness. That's your body begging for relief. What makes this even more dangerous for seniors is that the longer you eat like this, the more damage builds up in the background. Poor chewing leads to poor breakdown of nutrients. Over time, this means your body stops absorbing what it needs. Things like iron, vitamin B12, magnesium, and calcium. And without those, everything gets worse. Your muscles weaken, your energy drops, your nerves misfire, your bones become brittle, and you start to think it's just aging. But it's not. It's digestion that has slowly failed you without ever being diagnosed. Imagine this. You eat a meal quickly, and by the afternoon, your body feels off. You're tired. Your stomach is tense. You have brain fog and no motivation. That's not just a blood sugar dip. That's your gut screaming for help, and it starts with the way you chew. Chewing does more than just break food into smaller pieces. It mixes your food with saliva, which contains enzymes that start the digestion of starches and fats. When you skip this, your stomach and intestines are left unprepared. This can lead to fermentation of food in the gut, which causes gas, bloating, and inflammation. It also feeds harmful bacteria and disrupts the microbiome balance, which is already vulnerable in seniors. If you've noticed increased gas, irregular bowel movements, or sudden food sensitivities, the speed at which you eat might be the real culprit. Another aspect that most people miss is how fast eating impacts blood sugar and insulin. When you eat too fast, especially carbohydrate-rich meals, your body digests those carbs quicker and dumps glucose into the bloodstream rapidly. That triggers a stronger insulin response, which then crashes your blood sugar an hour later. You feel tired, hungry again, maybe even shaky or irritable. This roller coaster can be exhausting and, over time, increase the risk of insulin resistance or worsen diabetes in seniors. Let's also talk about something more subtle, but just as harmful: air swallowing. When you eat fast, you swallow more air. That air ends up trapped in your stomach and intestines, leading to belching, cramping, and painful bloating. Some seniors even think they are allergic to certain foods, when in reality, it's just the way they're eating that's causing the reaction. What's worse is how fast eating disconnects you from your own body. You don't taste the food. You don't feel satisfied. You're eating with your hands and mouth, not with your mind. And that disconnection can create emotional distance from the act of nourishing yourself. Eating becomes mechanical, automatic, empty. And for many seniors, that emotional gap leads to loneliness at meals, overeating, and eventually poor health. But what if you tried something different? What if, before each meal, you took a deep breath? What if you picked up your fork and actually tasted the first bite? What if you chewed until the food turned soft and effortless to swallow? Studies show that chewing each bite at least 20 times not only improves digestion, but also signals the brain to stop eating at the right time. It helps regulate hunger hormones, stabilizes blood sugar, and increases satisfaction from meals. And that's not theory, that's chemistry. You can also start with practical steps. Use smaller utensils. Put down your fork between bites. Avoid eating in front of the television or while standing. Choose foods that naturally require more chewing, like steamed vegetables, lean meats, whole grains. All these things slow you down, and that slowness is what your body needs. Because digestion is not a race, it's a rhythm, and when you rush it, everything else in your body gets out of tune. Even your heart can be affected. Fast eating has been linked in studies to higher rates of metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that include high blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess body fat around the waist, and abnormal cholesterol levels. For seniors, this means an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. Something as simple as how you eat could be silently affecting your lifespan without you ever knowing it. And there's something else to consider. Seniors often take multiple medications. These already stress the digestive system. When you eat too fast, you're adding more stress on top of that. If your digestion is impaired, Your medication might not be absorbed properly. That means you could be taking the right pill in the right dose and still not getting the benefit. Your body needs time to process what you give it, food included. But perhaps the most overlooked consequence is what fast eating does to your peace of mind. Mealtimes should be moments of presence, moments where your body feels safe, calm, supported. When you rush through them, you rob yourself of that pause, that restoration. And in a life that often feels chaotic, especially in older age, those small pauses matter. They heal more than just your stomach. What if you began treating each meal like a conversation with your body? A time where you listen to what it needs, how it feels, what it enjoys? That small shift changes everything. Because when you eat slowly, you're not just helping your stomach, you're helping your whole system recover its balance. You're protecting your energy, your bones, your mood. You're reclaiming control over something that should never have been taken from you. The habit of eating fast may have followed you for decades, but it doesn't have to define the years ahead. Your body is asking for kindness, one bite at a time. Have you ever struggled with nighttime discomfort or relied on quick fixes like antacids? Share your experience in the comments. It might help someone else. And while you're here, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of guidance and support. You feel that familiar burn creeping up your chest. A sour taste lingers in your throat. Maybe you've just finished lunch, or maybe it's the end of the day, and once again, your stomach refuses to cooperate. So you reach for that little tablet, the one you've come to rely on, the antacid. It brings relief in minutes, like a magic button that silences your discomfort. But what if that quick fix is quietly breaking you from the inside out? Many older adults take antacids as casually as breath mints, a routine, harmless step in the day. But few understand what this habit is truly doing to their bodies. Because while antacids neutralize stomach acid in the moment, they also shut down one of your body's most vital systems. And when you use them too often, your digestion doesn't just slow down. It weakens, it misfires, it begins to fail. Your stomach acid isn't a mistake. It's not a flaw. It's essential. It's the front line of your digestive defense system. It breaks down protein. It kills harmful bacteria. It helps you absorb key nutrients like vitamin B12, iron, calcium, and magnesium. And without it, even the healthiest meal becomes worthless. Food may enter your body, but it won't be transformed into energy, strength, or nourishment. It will ferment, it will stagnate, and your body will start to starve silently from the inside. Now imagine doing that every day, neutralizing that acid repeatedly, blocking its natural function in exchange for a moment of calm. That moment is deceiving, because the pain goes away, but the damage builds quietly. Over time, seniors who take antacids daily are at a much higher risk for vitamin deficiencies that lead to fatigue, memory problems, nerve pain, and brittle bones. You think your legs are weak because of aging. You think your hands tremble because of stress. But in truth, your cells are starving for nutrients they can no longer absorb. And that's not age, that's suppression. Vitamin B12 deficiency is one of the most common consequences of long-term antacid use. Without B12, your body struggles to produce healthy red blood cells. That means less oxygen reaches your brain, your muscles, and your heart. You may start to feel foggy, tired, even depressed. Your hands might tingle, your balance might falter. And all this can happen while you think your digestion is being managed. But what you're really doing is muting a deeper problem instead of solving it. It doesn't stop there. Calcium, essential for bone strength, also needs stomach acid to be properly absorbed. So when your acid is neutralized every day, your bones lose their building blocks. That leads to osteoporosis, fragile bones, higher risk of fractures from even a minor fall. And for seniors, that's not a small concern. One broken hip can change the course of your independence forever. Then there's magnesium, critical for muscle function, nerve signaling, and heart rhythm. Antacid overuse has been linked to magnesium depletion, which can result in muscle cramps, irregular heartbeat, and even seizures in extreme cases. And the saddest part is how easily this could be avoided if we only recognize the role stomach acid is supposed to play. There's also something doctors don't always tell you. Antacids may seem simple, but many types fall into a class of drugs called proton pump inhibitors, or PPIs. These drugs, when used long-term, have been associated with kidney damage, increased risk of dementia, and even higher rates of certain infections. Because once you suppress acid, you suppress your body's natural barriers. Bacteria that would normally be destroyed now survive. They travel deeper into your system, causing harm in ways that don't seem connected at first glance. And what happens next is even more frustrating. You become dependent. Your body starts to expect the pill. You stop producing acid naturally. Now the very system meant to protect you is dismantled, and you can't eat without the pill. That's not healing. That's bondage. Let's say you take an antacid. After every meal, you've trained your stomach to rely on that intervention. And when you try to stop, the acid rebound is intense, even more painful than before. So you go back to the pill, thinking it's your only escape. But that cycle is not freedom. It's a trap. The truth is, most cases of acid reflux and heartburn in seniors can be dramatically improved without medication, by adjusting the timing of meals, reducing trigger foods, managing portion sizes, and strengthening the digestive system naturally. But this information rarely reaches the people who need it most, because pills are easier, quicker, familiar, and marketed as safe. If you've been relying on antacids for months or even years, it's time to step back and ask a different question. Not how to stop the symptom, but why the symptom is happening. Maybe it's the coffee on an empty stomach. Maybe it's the way you eat too quickly or lie down after meals. Maybe your body is begging for more fiber, better hydration, or more consistent meal times. These are not complex medical mysteries. They're lifestyle patterns that often go unnoticed. Imagine this. You switch your late-night heavy meal for something lighter, like steamed vegetables and lean protein. You stop eating 2 hours before lying down. You drink more water during the day and eat more slowly. Suddenly, the burning lessens. The pressure disappears, and you realize the pill wasn't solving anything. It was only covering the noise. And there's something powerful in that realization. Because once you understand that your body isn't broken, just overwhelmed, you gain back control. You stop seeing pain as random. You stop fearing every bite. You start listening to the signals instead of silencing them. Your digestive system isn't your enemy. It's your partner. And if you treat it with respect, it rewards you with energy, clarity, and comfort. You don't need to suffer through every meal. You don't need to choose between food and peace. What you need is to stop depending on something that was never designed to be a permanent fix. You deserve a life where food brings nourishment, not fear. Where your body feels strong and responsive, not dull and reactive. And that begins when you start looking at your daily habits with fresh eyes, not with guilt, not with regret, but with curiosity. Because healing doesn't require perfection. It only requires awareness. What part of today's message resonated most with you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if you found this helpful, subscribe and join our growing community of people who are choosing to live healthier, more mindful lives. Dinner is over. The dishes are in the sink. You walk over to the sofa, sit down, and within minutes, the weight of the day begins to pull at your eyelids. Maybe you drift off in front of the television. Maybe you decide to go straight to bed. After all, you've earned your rest. But sometime during the night, it starts. That pressure in your chest, a strange burning in your throat, maybe even a cough that wakes you up from what should have been a peaceful sleep. It feels random, but it's not. It's your body reacting to a habit that many seniors never question. lying down too soon after eating. At first glance, it seems harmless. What could be more natural than relaxing after a meal? But for an aging digestive system, this timing can be devastating. When you lie flat with a full stomach, gravity no longer keeps your food and stomach acid where they belong. Instead, the contents of your stomach press upward, often spilling into the esophagus, leading to acid reflux, nighttime heartburn, and silent inflammation that erodes your comfort over time. You might not even feel the burn every time. Sometimes it shows up as a dry cough, a raspy voice in the morning, a sore throat that never seems to go away. Some seniors describe it as a lump in the throat, or a feeling like something is stuck after swallowing. Others feel a strange tightness in the chest that mimics heart symptoms. The medical term is GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and it is incredibly common among older adults. But what makes it worse isn't the food itself, it's when you eat it and what you do right after. As we age, the muscles that keep acid in the stomach, especially the lower esophageal sphincter, become weaker. The diaphragm also loses tone. That means even mild pressure can push acid upward. Now combine that with a full meal, and then lying down, and you create the perfect conditions for reflux. Night after night, month after month, and while you might get used to the discomfort, the damage continues silently. This repeated exposure of the esophagus to stomach acid can cause tiny tears in the lining, known as erosions. It can also lead to something called Barrett's esophagus, a condition where the cells begin to change due to chronic acid exposure. Over time, this increases the risk of esophageal cancer, especially in those who have suffered in silence for years without ever changing the way they eat or rest. The discomfort caused by this habit doesn't end in the throat. Poor digestion at night disrupts your sleep cycle, interferes with your body's healing process, and leaves you feeling groggy, bloated, and irritable the next day. Your energy declines, your clarity fades, and you assume it's just aging. But in many cases, it's simply that your body never had the time or position it needed to digest properly. You may not realize how connected your sleep quality is to your digestion. At night, your body is supposed to enter a state of restoration. Your organs slow down to repair. Your cells regenerate. Your immune system reboots. But when your stomach is still working overtime, churning, releasing acid, struggling to break down food, your nervous system never fully relaxes. That's why you wake up tired even after 8 hours in bed. That's why your stomach feels swollen in the morning. That's why your mouth is dry or bitter, and your mood feels off before the day even starts. It's not about avoiding food at night. It's about giving your body the space to digest before you rest. Most nutritionists and doctors recommend a window of at least 90 minutes between your last bite and lying down. That simple gap can change everything. It allows your stomach to do its job upright. It gives gravity the chance to help move food downward. It reduces pressure on the esophageal valve. And it allows your sleep to begin on a clean digestive slate. Even small shifts can bring massive relief. If you usually eat at 8 p.m. and sleep by 9, try pushing dinner to 6:30 or moving bedtime to 10. Take a gentle walk after your meal, even just 10 minutes around the house. Elevate the head of your bed slightly with a wedge pillow or risers under the mattress to prevent acid from creeping upward. Choose lighter meals in the evening, focusing on steamed vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats that digest more easily. Avoid trigger foods at night such as tomatoes, chocolate, caffeine, fried foods, and citrus, which are known to relax the esophageal muscle and provoke reflux. But the most powerful change comes from awareness. Once you start paying attention to how your body responds after meals, you begin to notice patterns. That tightness after lying down too quickly. That fullness that lingers long after it should. That breathlessness you feel that's not from the lungs but from pressure pushing upward from the stomach. These are not random signs. They are messages. And when you listen, everything begins to shift. It's not about perfection. It's about permission. Giving your body permission to digest fully before you ask it to sleep. Giving your system the pause it deserves after a lifetime of being on the go. Especially now, when rest and healing are more essential than ever. You've carried this body for decades. You've trusted it, lived through pain, growth, and transformation. And it's still here, doing its best for you. The least it asks is that you don't sabotage it with habits that seem harmless, but cause silent suffering. Rest should feel like rest. Sleep should heal. And food should nourish without punishment. If no one ever told you this before, let this be the moment. You are allowed to change what doesn't serve you. You are allowed to slow down, eat with intention, and give your body the space it needs to recover and thrive. Even if you've struggled for years, even if your digestion feels broken, even if you've normalized the discomfort, you are never too old to begin again. Thank you for sharing this time with us today. Your presence here means you care about your body, your future, and your strength. If this message helped you or opened your eyes even a little, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Your story matters, your voice matters, and your next step starts now. Make sure to like this video if it brought you any value. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a message that could change your health. And most importantly, stay with us, because the next video on your screen holds the key to unlocking a whole new level of energy and well-being. We'll see you there.